So what we're going to do today is give you a chance to hear from 5 different people and 5 different types of jobs. And the reason we're doing this is we want to provide an opportunity for young people to maybe catch a vision of their future, what they might want to do, or also what you might not want to do. Because part of finding your path in life is to figure out what you don't want to do also, right? So you may hear something today and go, I definitely don't want to do that. But that helps you, because then you have less choices, helps you find your way. So what we're going to do is we're going to have each person talk some about what they do and what their job's like. And at the end of the time today, we're going to give you a little survey thing to fill out real quick, just so we can get what you think about this, how it was, and also if you want to hear what kind of professions or jobs you might want to hear about, because if we do more of these, we're going to probably do more, maybe some other types of jobs, because there's a zillion types of jobs. So this career path meeting here came out of meetings that we had, like focus groups. We met with a bunch of teenagers in a house brainstorming ideas, what kind of things to do. So this is one of the outgrowths of that. But that's in there. And then I think that's it. So we're going to get started now. And I want to thank all of our speakers for coming. Let's hear it for our speakers.
Hi guys, thank you for the introduction. Can everybody hear me? Perfect. All right, so like she said, I'm a financial advisor and a partner in financial planning practice. I work at Wells Fargo Advisors here in Palos Verdes, actually right down the street. I wanted to give you guys perfect. All right. Okay. All right. I want to give you guys a little bit of my background, how I ended up in this industry, give you some insight on what exactly a financial advisor does, and answer any questions at the end of the panel on anything I didn't cover or if you'd like clarification on. So I initially started out, being a financial advisor wasn't something I ever dreamed about doing when I was a little girl. I kind of happened into this career. I started out working in retail through college, and I worked in retail for about 6 years, and was randomly approached by one of my clients who asked if I would be interested in interviewing for a position on her team. And so she was a financial advisor. So I started off in more of a support role. I worked there for a couple of years and then moved to a junior financial advisor role, and I've been in the industry now for about 4 years, and I'm now a full financial advisor. So what is a financial advisor? I know it's easy to think about the old school stockbrokers. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Wolf of Wall Street, but I can assure you we trade stocks, but it's nothing like that. What we actually do is like she said, we guide our clients through a process of defining their goals and then helping them meet these goals. The way we do it is we meet with clients, we get to know information about them, what's important to them, what sort of goals they'd like to achieve financially. We gather information about their finances, then we go through and analyze all this information. And we do this to create a plan to get them on the right path to get there. So we look at really 6 focus areas. We look at their current financial situation, what they're spending versus what they're taking in. We look at all their accumulation goals. So are they looking to send their kids to college? Are they looking to maybe buy a house in the future? We look at retirement planning. At what age do they want to stop working? And if Social Security isn't around, like how will they be okay to be able to continue to live without working? We also look at another component, which is tax planning. So this is where we look at specific investments to help minimize tax implications, help them try to avoid taxes as much as possible. Not evade taxes, because that's illegal, but really avoid them. We also look at risk management, and so this just means insurance. So say if it's a husband and wife and one of the partners dies, how do we make sure that the family and the kids are able to continue on without actually still meeting the financial goals without that person's income? And the last part is we look at estate planning. So once a person passes away, what do they want to happen with their money? Do they want to give it to their kids? Do they want to leave it to a charity? Do they want to spend it all? And so we make sure that the transition of their finances after they pass away is as seamless as possible, and we keep the expenses down, administrative expenses. Once we look at all of this, these are essentially like little puzzle pieces. We put it together and develop a plan for the clients. We go back and present this plan, and if it works out for them, if it's something that they think they can stick to, we help them implement the plan. And this is where the investment portion comes in. Afterwards, we make sure to meet with the clients and we monitor the plan to keep it on track. We understand things change in life, and maybe the goals change or something happens in the market or the economy that can impact this plan. We make sure to adjust as necessary to make sure the clients meet their goals. So looking at this on a day-to-day basis, it's basically working on different parts of this process. Some days I'm meeting with clients, some days I'm updating existing clients on what's going on in their plan, or what's going on in their portfolios. It could be rebalancing the stocks and the bonds that are in their portfolios. Some days I spend a lot of my time reading market research or political commentaries to make sure that we know what's going on in the market and in the world, because this all impacts our clients. And I also spend a lot of time meeting with other financial professionals to make sure to stay up to date on any products we're using with our clients, or if there's any new products that maybe are a little bit better. Really, every day is different, and I can say I've never been bored in my career. That being said, it's never boring, but it is a little bit challenging. The financial industry is very fast-paced. You're constantly multitasking. That gets a little overwhelming. You have to take, when you first get in there, you have to take a few tests to be able to do your job, and those tests are really hard. You guys are all in school, they're never fun. And then you're meeting with different clients who have different personalities, so sometimes the personalities don't mesh, or you have to figure out a way to talk to them. Those are all challenges in this job. Moving on to the requirements. So most firms prefer that you have at least a bachelor's degree, maybe higher. And like I mentioned earlier, you have to get registered, and this just means being able to buy and sell stocks and bonds. To do this, you have to take two exams, which is they're regulatory exams, and they're pretty hard, but you only have to take them once, which is wonderful. And then you have to get insurance license with the state of which you reside to be able to sell insurance products. There are costs associated with all of this, which if you work for a reputable firm like Wells Fargo Advisors, they'll cover all of those costs. There are also some additional courses that you can take to specialize in a specific area of your practice. They're called designations, and these cost money too. So it can be anywhere from a couple $100s to maybe a few $1,000s, and again, the firm for the most part will cover that. So it doesn't really take a lot of out-of-pocket money. Really, the only expenses that you'll be expected to cover are expenses you'd encounter in any job. So your work attire, so your clothes you're going to wear to work, and then transportation costs to get to and from the office, which that's very reasonable. Hours and benefits, it's pretty generous. So you get 3 weeks typically vacation, plus any time the stock market's closed, we're closed. So that's an additional probably like 6 days vacation time, and this is all paid. You get time off for sick leave, and you also get time off for volunteer work. So that's pretty wonderful. Hours, Monday through Friday, usually 7 to 4. So you don't have to work weekends, you don't have to work nights unless you really want to. And then this all changes as you become more, the longer you are in your career, you start to build your own client base, and the firm that you work for starts to recognize you as being more like an independent business owner. So at that point, you can kind of set your own hours and do what works for you. We have some advisors that come into the office only a couple days a week, or some that take months off to go on vacation and work remotely. It's basically as long as you're taking care of your clients and you're still growing your business and adding new clients, the firm that you work for is going to be more hands-off and let you kind of do your own thing and whatever works for you. So taking this opportunity to join the financial industry was one of the best decisions I probably ever made. I really do love my job. If I could say what makes me most passionate about my career is that it's really getting to help people by guiding them through their goals and making their goals a reality. It's a nice feeling to go ahead to have a client that you're taking away some of the worry about their financial future or what's going to happen to their family. They trust that you have a plan to get there and you're taking care of the plan, so it helps them sleep at night a little bit, which is a really good feeling. So if I can give you guys really any sort of advice, it would be to really do your best in every job that you take and always make sure to present the best version of yourself. And what I mean by that is, as you get older into high school and you start working various, say, a job at In-N-Out Burger, it's easy to goof off and think, this is not what I want to do with my life, and so I'm just going to mess around and not really take it seriously. But you never really know who you're going to meet there, and like how these people that you meet can really open doors for you in the future. For me, it was working in retail. One of the clients that I had worked for, invited me to be on her team because she liked the version of me that I was presenting and how I did my job. So it really can open up doors for you in the future. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hello, hi. How is everyone?
Good.
All right. Well, I am a marriage and family therapist. If you don't know what that is, it's a therapist. It's someone who you can go to and talk to whenever you have any kinds of feelings. Currently, right now, I work with kids. I work at a non-public school, which is a school where kids who have difficulties in a public learning center will go. I graduated from CSUN, California State University Northridge, with my BA in psychology. And when I started looking for jobs, I realized that you really can't get a lot of jobs with just a BA, a Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology. So I decided to go to graduate school. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I had met a teacher who used to, a psychology teacher, and she's the one who kind of influenced me into wanting to be a therapist. So in therapy, how you become a therapist is you have to do, once you graduate, you get your master's, you have to do 3,000 hours. After you complete those 3,000 hours, which takes about 2 years, 2 to 3 years, you have to take a state exam. And currently, you only have to take one exam. When I took the test, it was 2 tests, so it was pretty hard. But now it's a little bit easier. So, so that's good for you guys, if anyone wants to be a therapist. I also work in private practice. Private practice is where I see clients, more clients that come to see me, as opposed to the kind of clients that I work with at a non-public school. So that's kids who, once again, they're at the school already. One of the things, the reasons why I like to work with the things that I do is because helping a lot of people. It helps a lot of people. Sometimes in life you go through times where it's hard, or difficulties with parents, especially being a teenager, being able, to talk to your parents about how you feel. Some of the challenges, you hear a lot of stories. Sometimes in therapy, you hear a lot of stories regarding people, going through many different things. So a lot of times you have to remember self-care. Self-care is taking care of yourself, right? Because even though I only work Monday through Thursday, sometimes I have to put in a lot of long hours, and even though I'm done with my job, I still have to think about my clients. Some of my clients go through a lot of things, depression, anxiety, drug use. So sometimes having to think about them, I have to remember that once I'm kind of, I'm done with my job, I have to remember to take care of myself. So, let's see, sorry. The most important piece of advice that I could give you is that, just like when I started, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to school, I actually got kicked out of college, because, I went through some stuff, I didn't know what to do, I was kind of going through my own thing, but one of the most important things is that I continue. And that's how life is. Sometimes you're gonna fall off, sometimes you're gonna go, the wrong path, but as long as you continue to stay focused, you continue to want to make something of yourself, no matter what things get in your way, as long as you have a clear path, then, you'll be able to do it. And as long as you have support, and if you don't have support, I need people out there that will help you. That's why this is great that this is happening, that we're doing this today, because this is a way for you guys to also start to see ways that you can help and, get help as well. Well, that's it. Thanks.
I'm a little taller. Just a little bit. Well, I'll just talk loud. So, it's awesome that you're here today. I wish I had something like this when I was your age, because it took me a long, long, long time to figure out what I wanted to do in my career. But as an attorney, whenever I actually introduce myself, what I always hear is a bad joke. And so since I'm introducing myself to you, I'll let you hear about some of the bad jokes I hear. Who can tell me when an attorney is lying? Anybody? You already know the answer. The answer is whenever he moves his lips.
I was gonna say when they're sleeping.
That too. Well, so anyway, hopefully I can prove that wrong to you today. Hopefully you can take away some of the things I say as truthful. So, I am an attorney. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I focus on lower end crimes, misdemeanors, DUI, hit and runs, even traffic infractions. Some of the lower end things. I've done bigger things like first degree murder, cases like that, but currently just the lower end things. To become an attorney is a lot of work. Who here likes work? Anybody? Uh-oh. You may want to be an attorney. Okay, good. There's 2, there's 3. So what you have to do, you have to go to school. And so like everybody else said before me, you have to get an undergraduate degree from a 4-year university. A bachelor's degree. I got a bachelor's degree in communication. Why I chose communication? This right here, doing this, terrified me. I could not speak in front of a single person. I used to stutter. I was terrified because I had no idea what to say. The number one fear everybody has actually is public speaking. So what better thing to do to accomplish that was to take communications. So you have to get your 4-year degree. After you get your 4-year degree, you got to take a test. We all love tests, right? Well, this is called the LSAT test. It's a logical test where it helps place you into a law school. I highly recommend if you're going to do that you take a study course. When I first took my practice LSAT test, I was in the bottom 10%. It was terrible. I don't know how I'm here today, but I took that test, that study course, and I actually became the top 90th percentile of everyone that took the test. So it's very, very important. You have to spend the money to be successful. That's one thing. Never be cheap with yourself. If you want to achieve a goal or achieve your career, make sure you put that time and effort and spend the money on yourself. So once you get to go to law school, guess what? Your very first day, you open up a book, and the case is from the 1800s. Thou art shall. I had no idea what the heck those words were. My very first test in law school, I opened up the book. I said, oh my goodness, I'm going to flunk my way out of law school. But it's okay. These are the challenges you have. And so once you get through law school, who can tell me what you have to do next to become a lawyer? Anybody? Take another test. The California State Bar Exam. You know what the passage rate of the California State Bar Exam is? 36%. So out of 100 people, there are 100 people here today, only 36 would pass. That means all the money you spent, all the time you spent, you have to try over and over again. So you want to think about the financial cost of doing this. It is expensive. Going to law school is quite expensive. But when I say if this is something you want to do, and you believe in yourself, you're worth that money because this is what your passion is. So what's my day like every single day? It's a lot of preparation. I'm lucky. I only work at one court. Most attorneys that do what I do have to travel all throughout LA County, everywhere. They go from Torrance to Long Beach to the Metropolitan Courthouse. Lucky for me, I'm stuck in one courthouse. I work for a ticket clinic, which you've probably seen some of the banners when you drive. If not, take a look. You'll see them probably every few blocks. But I work at the Metropolitan Courthouse every single day, and that's my only court I work at. Now, what do? The very first thing I do, I wake up in the morning and prepare my calendar. I have up to 150 cases a day. That includes arraignments, that includes trials, it includes pre-trials, it includes motions. It's a lot of work, but I like it. It's something worthwhile. Now, we talk about passion and why we like it. I want to give you a story. I like it because I actually do get to help people. Everyone always hates an attorney. There's always like, oh, attorney. Not when you need one. When you need one, you say, speak to my attorney. I'm always someone's best friend when that happens. But I have a recent case that I'm actually pursuing pretty soon. Someone was charged with a speed contest. Anyone know what a speed contest is? Racing the vehicles. So I have a young client, who was charged with actually racing two vehicles. And in a discovery, what the discovery is what the government is charged with. They said there was these two cars at the stoplight, revved their engines, and just went. Now, being an attorney, you have a lot of power. You have what's called discovery power. You can subpoena things. I got the video. Guess what? There is no video of these two cars sitting there racing. It's just one car driving about 45 miles per hour. And so because of that power, and because I'm able to help someone charged with a crime, a misdemeanor, something that could affect their life and liberty, I'll be able to take care of that and make sure that their constitutional rights were actually taken care of. So that's some of the power you have. Some of the wonderful things you get to do is you get to protect people. We have a wonderful Constitution, and people always go, how can you be a criminal defense attorney? Well, because everyone deserves a right to a fair and adequate defense, and I get to do that. So, I want to talk a little bit about why is this career so rewarding? And there's two reasons why. Number one, if you want to become a lawyer, there's one thing that happens that no one can ever take away. They say knowledge is power. They can never take away your education. Yes, you may have loans. Yes, you may work long hours. But at the end of the day, you have an education of law, a very powerful education. They can't take that away, which then goes to the second point. Say you get fired from your job. Say Clint doesn't want to have me anymore. I always have a job. The old saying is you can hang up your own shingle. I can always start my own business because I have that knowledge, I have that education, and so I'll be able to, no matter what happens, always have a job because out there's clients everywhere. People are always getting into some type of trouble, and I'll always be able to do that. I do have hobbies outside of work. It isn't just work. As Lizette said, you need to take care of yourself. You don't want to bring that home. So I do play sports. I mean, I'm tall. I do still play basketball even at my age. I do obstacle races. I do the Spartan race. If you've ever seen the Spartan race where you jump over fire and you climb ropes, things like that. It's a lot of fun. But if you do want to become a lawyer, or whatever you want to become, I just want to leave you with they always say, what advice did you get in your career? And for the legal career, I didn't get any advice, but I'm going to give you my own personal advice in choosing whatever you want to do. But remember, your parents, other people may want you to become something else. This is your story. You are the author of your story. Follow your own story. Be that author. But let me go to two different things. The two major keys to success. I've done a lot of study on success. There are two. Number one is work hard. In order to be successful, you have to work hard. There's a great book called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell that says to become an expert at anything, it takes 10,000 hours. I haven't put 10,000 hours into law, so I am not an expert lawyer. Number two, get rid of fear. Every successful person, whether it's someone in the Navy SEALs, an athlete, a business person, is not scared to take chances, is not scared to fail. The creator of Honda was asked, why did you become so successful? And his quote was this, he said, I failed more times than I succeeded. So don't be afraid to fail. If you want to become an attorney, I'll be here to answer any questions. It's a good, great career. You can help people, and that's my story.
Hello, my name is Stephanie. I was not a communications major, so going after a dean is a little intimidating. So my undergrad was in biochemistry, and I was going to go to med school. I had the internship at Clinical Care Extenders.
Let's move on a little bit. I'm on the microphone, closer to you.
Okay, can you hear me better now? Okay.
Yeah, talking.
So at the internship is where I actually discovered that I did not want to go into the Western medical field. I was not that happy working at the hospital, and I'm really glad that I took that internship, because if I hadn't, I probably would have gone down it and maybe not have been as happy as I am with my career. I went into Eastern Medicine in Koreatown at Dongguk University. It is about a 5-year program. It just depends on how fast you want to go through it. So they give you 8 years. There is classes that you sit in class from about 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day, so it is intense. It's kind of like going through a Western medical program. And then you have your rotations on top of that. So you have your rotations at the school, and then you have an externship. So mine was at USC, and I worked in the healthcare center there. When I graduated, there's a couple different options you can take. The most important to realize is that you will be your own entrepreneur. So you probably will not go get a job and go there 9 to 5 every day and get handed a paycheck. It is something that you have to develop on your own, which can be scary, but it also offers a lot of flexibility. So you can work for somebody else. You can go in and treat patients and they'll give you a paycheck. You can do a percentage base where you go in and treat and they give you a percentage of what you make. I decided to work for myself. So I had a friend that was a physical therapist and we work at a wellness center together. That took a few years to get going, so there is that to think about. But it was great. There's creativity behind it, there's flexibility. I create my own hours for work, so I can go on vacation when I want to go on vacation, spend time with my family, or take self-care, which is really important too when you're treating patients. What I like about the profession is that you're really healing the person. You're taking as much time as you want to sit with each patient and really seeing what they're going through and how you can help them. And there's an integrative approach. So I work with doctors of all sorts, and we refer back and forth, and we kind of create what they call now, which is becoming more popular, they say a functional medicine approach. So there's still a Western approach to it, but you do it in a holistic way. So I use an herbal formula instead of standard medicine that you might be used to seeing. Because of our insurance, it is an essential healthcare benefit, so insurance does cover it. So I have a medical biller that I pay, and she does all my billing for me. And it's exciting. There's so much more research and things that you can learn. So you're always learning about new approaches to the medicine, and you're working with a bunch of different practitioners. And there's a lot of support within the community. Let's see. So you can choose who you want to work with every day. I chose to work with physical therapists, but you can work with chiropractors, you can work with massage therapists, or you can just work on your own and just have your own office and not work with other people. But it is great to have that referral base. So if you are starting out on your own to market yourself, it's great to work with somebody else. The challenges, being an entrepreneur, building, some days you wake up and you're just really tired and you're like, oh, can I do this? So you kind of have to reframe that mindset and know that you believe in what you're doing in your medicine and that you enjoy it, and just have faith that it's going to be great and it's going to keep on building. You have to have a lot of self-discipline to be an entrepreneur. So there isn't a lot of structure that other people give you, so you have to be able to be self-motivated. If that's something that's exciting to you and that you have that drive, then it's a great career path. It's really great because you're helping people every day. So when somebody's sick and you see their progression into becoming healthy, especially if they've exhausted all of their healthcare options with going to a Western doctor, it's really neat to be able to see that change, because it not only helps them feel better, but it helps their families too if they can give more time and energy to them. So I've learned that you get what you ask for in life. So whether it is setting a price that you want your patients to pay, or if it's just asking for a future that you want, if you put it out there, it usually is created. And then you just have to remember every day that you're good enough, and what you do, if you stand by it, everybody else will support you, and you can have whatever you want. There's not a lot of people that say that they love what they do, but I will say that I love going into my office every day, and I love working with my patients, and it's incredibly rewarding.
All right, thanks guys, thanks for coming here today. So yeah, I'm Ben, I'm an engineer. There's a lot of types of engineers out there, and the truth is we need you. So we need a lot more engineers. I'm sure you've heard that hopefully in your schooling. The US does not make enough of us. So grab your science books, grab your math books. It's not that hard, just do it. Especially women, we need a lot of girls and women in engineering. And there's a lot of types of engineering. So engineering's fun. You can do a lot of coding and computer stuff, the zeros and ones. I think that's kind of boring. I like to build stuff, so we have hands, so we're made to build stuff. So I build airplanes, missiles, fighter jets, cool top secret stuff, stuff for NASA, $8 billion telescope we're launching in about 3 months. So yeah, it's a lot of money. And the industry is booming, you know, as everyone knows, the world is not as safe as we'd like it to be. And the reason why we are safe is because we have the best technology. So engineers build that technology. So when the president says, you know, fire a missile, then the fighter pilot hits the red button, and it's my job to make sure that red button works, basically, is what we do. And you don't have to be super smart to be an engineer or get into manufacturing. My first job was cutting keys at Ace Hardware at 14, so I learned how to, you know, work at a hardware store. We have a lot of guys that, I had a Chevy Blazer, I don't know if they still make those, SUV, probably still make them, and it was a lemon, it was a bad car, it stopped working. My dad said, too bad, figure it out. So I went to a local mechanic and I said, I don't have any money, but I need to learn how to fix my car. And he let me work there at night or whatever, and I learned how to fix my car. So engineering and all that kind of stuff, technical stuff, is about, you know, making mistakes that was talked about here. You got to make a lot of mistakes. You know, you cross the wrong wires, you drill something too far deep, and you got to get a new piece of metal, start over. But it's fun. So, you know, to be an engineer, the easiest and best way is to study a lot of science and math. Then you go to a good engineering school. I went to San Luis Obispo, which is a good engineering school. And then you can probably pretty easily get a job. I think I had like 6 job offers right out of undergrad, and it pays good money. So that's one way. That's probably the easiest and best way. The other way is we're hiring mechanics and technicians like crazy. So right here in El Segundo, Redondo Beach, Palmdale, if you have a pulse, we'll hire you. So we need people to learn how to use machines, simple drill presses to composite ovens, whatever it is. So there's a lot of jobs, and I have a lot of friends who started making $12 an hour, which is not a lot, working in a factory, doing a boring job like welding. But welding is actually pretty cool. And then the company will pay for your education, your schooling. I have a master's degree, and my company paid for that. And so there's a lot of ways to get into manufacturing, production, engineering. So I recommend it. My job now is pretty cool. I used to be in a factory building the planes on the floor with technicians. Now I'm more in sales and exploring opportunities with different partners. So I was in Korea last week. Tomorrow I fly a private jet to a secret base, which is pretty cool. So it's just 2 pilots and me and one other guy, and we're gonna determine if we're gonna give this company money or not. In about 2 weeks I'll go to Israel. So I've been to like 40 countries, which is pretty cool, mostly for work and also for fun. So I always try to combine it. So when I had to go to Brazil, because we sold them some fighter jets, I went during Carnival, which was the big party time. So there's a lot of good opportunities to combine work with business. And if you're good at what you do, you can do that. So yeah, I guess my typical day is very, I have 3 offices, but I don't really go to any of them unless I have to. When I work on the classified stuff, and classified means like top secret, you see in the movies, and it is like that, it's pretty cool. You can't do that at home or at a regular office. Like tomorrow I have to fly to a secret base and I go underground and I do some cool stuff that I can't talk about for 50 years. So that's pretty cool. And I'm not a civilian, so I'm not in the military, but I'm also not like you guys, or I can't do certain things. I can't go certain places. I have a leash around my neck, basically, so I can do pretty much what I want, but I have to play by a lot of rules. So I hopefully don't have to call a lawyer. If I have to call a lawyer, I'll probably get fired. So I have to be pretty good. So get your fun stuff out of the way when you're young, I would say. And yeah, so engineering is booming. And one other thing too, it's pretty cool, is everyone knows what Boeing is, right? You fly a Boeing jet. There's a million Boeings out there, so Boeing doesn't even build that airplane, just like my company, Northrop Grumman. We don't build the airplanes, we assemble them. So there's thousands, just like Tesla or Toyota, there's thousands of suppliers that build certain parts. So we work, it's my job, and it's nice that I'm the customer because I work for the big company. I go to the little factories and determine if they're any good, building the little brackets, the windows, the composite carbon fiber parts. So you need a lot of key players involved, and a lot of engineers just sit at a desk in a cubicle, and I don't recommend that. That's pretty boring, but you could get really good at programming, or when you see these flying drone contests, that's okay, but we have computers that fly them way better than humans do, so it's kind of irrelevant for tomorrow. And the planes I work on, you guys are too old to be able to fly them, so the stuff we're working on today is really 50 years out. So you guys are old. You guys are too old to be my future pilots. So, but it's interesting. So definitely recommend engineering, and it's probably one of the top 3 areas that the U.S. needs people to work in. And money's good, travel's good, and you're building something that matters too. At the end of the day, a lot of jobs you sell Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, and it doesn't really matter what somebody has in their fridge, right? Soda. But weapon systems, defense, it's more important than you or even your family or your country. As you all know, North Korea is a big issue, Iran's a big issue. So stuff I work on, really matters, not just for me and Boasted Beach or PV, but the world. So greater purpose and doing something that's important. So thank you, and we're all here for a moment.